contrary to what one might think, the vast majority of these workers' compensation claims are unrelated to any contact with an incarcerated person. They're related to your standard kind of workplace injuries.
Hello, critical thinkers. Hope all is well. New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision is not only entangled with violence from correction officer to incarcerated individual, there's also a continued culture of corruption that reaches to the area of workers' compensation. Lucy Lang, New York State Inspector General, exposes the fraud perpetrated by correctional officers by filing false claims. Watch these clips.
My office, in addition to serving as the New York State Inspector General, I also serve as the Workers' Compensation Inspector General. And in the course of my visits to New York's 42 prisons, I heard over and over again that both incarcerated people and corrections staff were upset by the volume of corrections officers who were out on workers' compensation leave. What we learned when we dug into it is that although corrections staff only comprise 15% of the state workforce, that they comprise upwards of 44% of the state insurance fund workers' compensation claims. And contrary to what one might think, the vast majority of these workers' compensation claims are unrelated to any contact with an incarcerated person. They're related to your standard kind of workplace injuries. What happens when a corrections officer is out on workers' compensation leave is that their colleagues end up having to work overtime, to work double or even triple shifts. And unfortunately, due to a provision in the contract, there's a real incentive for DOCCS officers to go out on workers' compensation, and there aren't the same limitations that there are in other comparable industries, like, for example, the police, who have to stay at home when they're home on workers' compensation leave, and so it can be easily monitored. So it's very difficult for us to even pursue fraud cases against DOCCS officers who may be abusing that very generous provision because of the fact that it does not have those limitations on it. So as a result, we see huge numbers of facilities that have very large numbers of officers who are out on workers' compensation leave, resulting in understaffing. And the first thing to go when staffing numbers are down are the kind of programs that folks rely on to help facilitate their success when they come home. And that includes the truly mission critical vocational and educational programs that we know are the core of enabling people to successfully rehabilitate and reintegrate.
What do you recommend then to try and provide some guardrails around that?
We have recommended that there be a real assessment of the provision as it exists, and that there be continued vigilance to those claims.
And this goes back to a report from 2 years ago. Is that right?
I don't want to misspeak, but
Okay.
I believe it was 23.
Okay. So within the last few years.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, a recent report.
Okay.
And Tom, I know you know this, but New Yorkers who suspect fraud or corruption in the State Department of Corrections or in any of the state executive agencies should report it to us at 1-800-DO-RIGHT. And I encourage people to learn more about our work and to submit complaints through our social media platforms at New York State IG.
If you found value in this video, please like the video, comment below. Don't forget to share the video. And if you feel that I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel. My goal is to give you honest and direct feedback and go deeper than what the mainstream media is telling you. Take care, God bless, and see you next time.